Hello class, it is time we start our play. We are going to be looking at The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams. It is considered one of the all-time greats of plays. There are a lot of really great plays, but we're just going to be doing one. And the reason I picked this one is because it's pretty simplistic, and I'm wanting you to pick up on certain literary elements and be able to analyze characters and look at certain elements of literature. And this is a pretty easy one to grasp, and so the link is provided. It's this one that's up on the screen that you can see right now. This is the one I want you to watch, but I want to go over it a little bit with you. By now you have watched it because this is set to open up after you have taken the quiz to show that you have watched it. So I hope you enjoyed it, and you're also welcome to read it if you want to read it. I'm not discouraging that. I do think that plays were meant to be watched. They're written, yes, and it's literature, but they're written in order to be acted out and to watch it. So this is a really good rendition of this, and so let's first talk about the characters. So the first person who you see, and you'll see coming on here, it's very dramatic. It's very kind of dark. It's setting a tone for something a little bit dreary. This is not a very upbeat play, and so we get that from the very beginning. You may not have picked up on this, but what you're looking at right here is a fireplace, and that's the fire escape. And so Tom goes out there a lot, and so this would be, so we have Tom right here. And so, it's dark, it's dreary, and then we learned that he's daydreaming a little bit and then gets pulled back to reality because this is considered a memory play. This is all from Tom's memory. So that means, is he a reliable narrator? Because this whole thing is through his point of view. But if you go, the fireplace is probably the biggest pieces of symbolism in here, and it could also be an example of foreshadowing, because if you go to the very end of the play, you have to decide, do you think he leaves or do you think he stays? And so that is left up to you to determine. And so if you think about the fire escape and him escaping, that could be foreshadowing your interpretation of the ending of, he left. And so, but throughout the whole thing, he's daydreaming, he's dreaming of better things, he's reading the book, he's kind of the rebel, if you will, and so he's going out to that fire escape to escape reality. Really, that's a theme of this overall thing, escaping reality. They all are. If you look at the mom, so I have my notes over here, so you'll see me turning side to side. But so we have the mom, and we see her from the very beginning until she's really controlling. And so just look at how she's dressed. It's all prim and proper, because she used to kind of be hot stuff. She used to be very wealthy. We get a glimpse of the father from the very beginning. We see that image of that father, and so we learn through the play that he's gone, he's left. So it's just the mom, Amanda, with Laura and Tom, and so Amanda she tries to escape her realities by kind of still pretending she has that past life, and then through her daughter. And so she's very controlling from the very beginning. I'm going to come past this, play this here, but so we have...
We can't start dinner without you.
So right here is he's kind of being pulled out of... He's being pulled out of his kind of daydream there. We get the image of the father, and then we get to the table, and this is where we learn about their characters.
I had the
right
funniest experience in church last Sunday. The church was crowded, except for one little pew way down front, and that was just one little woman. I smiled very sweetly at her, and I said, "Excuse me, would you mind if we shared this pew?"
She's
I certainly would. She said, "This space is rented."
If you were to sit around at home for dinner,
that's the first time I ever knew that the Lord rented space.
Dress up.
These northern Episcopalians. I understand the southern Episcopalians, but these northern ones not. Honey, don't push your food with your fingers. You want to push your food with something, use a crust of bread.
So right off the bat, she's telling her daughter, don't eat like that, and treating her like she's a small child. And here we're going to say the same thing.
You must chew your food. Animals have secretions in their stomachs which enable them to digest their food without mastication, but human beings must chew their
Okay, so we get from the very beginning, we kind of learn a little bit about their characters from the very beginning. And that's one of the things I want you to be able to do is analyze these characters. So think about, we have Amanda, the mom, who's overbearing. She tries to live her life through her daughter. Her and her son, Tom, kind of butt heads. Then we have Tom, he's the daydreamer. He's kind of the rebel. He stands up to his mom, and there's a lot more to this, but I want you guys to, do this we're going to have this in the discussion, so hopefully you are fully analyzing these characters. And then we have Laura. She's very meek, very, very much. She doesn't have very, very good self-esteem. But if you go back to the play, her mom is always putting her down and making excuses for, she's disabled, or because one foot is longer than the other, so she makes it seem like she's got this really big disability. And if you think about it, really no, but she has one foot longer than the other. So it's not that she's disfigured. It's not that she's incapable of leaving the house, but her mom has treated her in such a way and made her feel really that she's no good. And so let me see here. I'm not going to go through this whole thing because it's an hour and 45 minutes long, almost 2 hours long for this entire thing. But, she collects those figurines. And so one of the biggest ones is, think about when the gentleman suitor comes, and we have that situation right there. Let me scroll down here. So we have this scene where Tom gets Jim O'Connor from work to come over for dinner. And so Tom is doing this to get his mom off his back, because she's like, find Laura a date, find her a gentleman suitor, because they want her to get married, so they have a man there to take care of her. And so he just tells Jim that it's just dinner, but they think in the apartment that could be it. So we have this fancy dinner. She goes all out. She's panicking. And then Jim comes, and what happens? Laura kind of freaks out. I can't eat. I'm sick. So she doesn't even go in there and eat. And so then he comes out. So then the power goes out. Power goes out because Tom didn't pay the bill. He paid his fee, which is another example of foreshadowing him leaving, because if he's paying his fees to enter into the merchant marines or whatever that was, then that's an indication that he's going to be leaving. So that's a little context clue that lets us know that he's out. But so then the lights go out, and then Jim comes out, and he's very kind to her and talks about how they used to call her Blue Roses. So what could that mean? They thought it was because she had pleurisy, which is an infection of the lungs. And so, the blue roses, and so if you think about the color blue, what the color blue could represent, that's, sadness, because there's always an element of sadness to Laura. And so they end up sitting on the floor, so it's very childlike. And then they dance in the living room, and he ends up kissing her, and it's more of kind of a pity kiss. And so, because he knows she's never been kissed before. But then her figure, she collects all these figurines. They're glass. That's another, could be symbolic of her, being very fragile. And so she talks about her favorite one being the unicorn because it's different. And then it falls and breaks, the horn falls off, and she said, well, now it's just like a horse. And so how could that apply to Laura? She thinks she's so different, but in reality, she's just like all the others. And so, this play is kind of flat. In it, it's like there's things that happen. They fight, the mom and the son, they fight. He, has that book, which is a big taboo, big no-no. He's not loving his job. He wants to write. He goes out on the fireplace, and he watches the party scene, the club or whatever that was, the night scene, and he's in the, I think they're dancing, and he's just he longs for that, but he stays because he feels that obligation to his family. So we have a really weird family dynamic going on in this play. And so, throughout the play, like I said, it's a little bit flat. We have a little bit of ups and downs, when the dinner comes, that's kind of a highlight. But even though that's kind of a highlight of the play, it's still somewhat flat. It's not like some of the other literature we've read. If you think about The Most Dangerous Game, you had that climax where they're hunting and then they're at the top of the hill and General Zaroff is, has the gun at him, and then he jumps off. Rainsford jumps off the cliff, and so we have that kind of climactic event. And then even back in the bedroom where, that's when he goes to bed and finds that Rainsford is actually hiding in the curtains and, ends up killing Zaroff. And so we have these exciting elements going on, and we really don't have that here. And that's kind of the case for a lot of plays, not all of them, but that's kind of the case. And so, I've touched on just a little bit of stuff, and I don't want to make this video too long where you're probably already bored. But let me come back through here. Let me make sure I touched on everything. Yeah, I've covered everything in my notes that I wanted to cover on this. So make sure that you're fully addressing those questions. And I hope that this helped you understand a little bit. A lot of times we think that these literary elements have to be really over the top and really hard to find. And they're really not. I mean, we have the fire escape. The big ones are the fire escape, the Glass Menagerie, and then her in general, with the Glass Menagerie, and then the unicorn, and then sorry. So we have these are kind of blatant things going on in the theme of escaping reality. And so a lot of these literary elements, they don't have to be hard to find in order to be good examples. And so think back, is there anything else that we didn't discuss that you think could be an example of, foreshadow or symbolism? I want you to think about the overall tone of this play, and, what would you say it is? It's very somber. It's not a very happy moment. Even when Laura, she's pretending to go to school just to make her mother happy because she feels that she can't do it. That's sad that she has such low self-esteem. Going with the blue, the sadness. So I hope this video helped. I could keep rambling on, but I'm going to come to a close. But make sure that you do all of the assignments. Make sure that you have watched this video in its entirety, which I guess if you're still listening, then you did. So I appreciate that, but we will see you soon.